HOA Karen evicted me from my farm because developers needs it. The next day, an Apache helicopter land. Maybe it was the way she peered through her curtains, eyes narrowed, watching my every move. Or perhaps it was the constant stream of complaints about the most trivial things, the height of my grass, the color of my mailbox, the time I chose to water my plants. Karen, the self-appointed neighborhood watchdog, had made it her mission to make my life a living hell. At first, I tried to brush it off. Live and let live, I tell myself. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Karen's behavior became increasingly erratic. She'd stand at the edge of her property, arms crossed, glaring at me as I tended to my farm. Sometimes I'd catch her furiously scribbling in a notebook, no doubt documenting my every transgression. One sunny afternoon, as I was repairing my fence, Karen marched up to me, her face flushed with anger. "I know what you're up to," she hissed, jabbing a finger in my direction. "All those strange noises at night, the occasional flashing lights. You're running some kind of illegal operation, aren't you?" I couldn't help but chuckle. If only she knew the truth about my farm and its importance to our nation's defense. But I had sworn an oath of secrecy, and no amount of neighborhood drama was going to make me break it. As the days wore on, Karen's accusations grew wilder. She started rallying other neighbors, whispering conspiracies about secret underground bunkers and clandestine midnight meetings. It was almost comical how far from the truth she was, yet unsettling how quickly others began to believe her. The situation reached a boiling point when Karen somehow got herself elected to the local homeowners association board. Suddenly, her personal vendetta against me had teeth. Violation notices started appearing in my mailbox with alarming frequency. Each one is more ridiculous than the last. Excessive patriotism for flying an American flag, noise pollution for the sound of my tractor, visual disturbance for the occasional military vehicle that would pass by my property. I tried reasoning with her, with the other board members, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Karen had woven such an intricate web of suspicion around me that no one was willing to listen. The once friendly waves from neighbors turned into averted gazes and hushed whispers. As the pressure mounted, I found myself spending more time indoors, away from Karen's prying eyes. My farm, once a source of pride and joy, began to feel like a prison. The land that had been in my family for generations, the same land that had served our country in ways these people couldn't even imagine, was now the source of my isolation. I'll never forget the day I received the eviction notice. It was a crisp autumn morning, the kind that usually filled me with excitement for the harvest ahead. Instead, I stood in my kitchen, hands shaking as I read the official-looking document. The HOA, led by Karen's relentless campaign, had found a way to force me out. They claimed my property was a nuisance and that developers had better plans for the land. My mind raced. How could I explain the true nature of my farm without breaking my oath? How could I make them understand the vital role this land played in our national security? The weight of secrecy had never felt so heavy. As I sat at my kitchen table, head in my hands, trying to figure out my next move, I heard a sound that made my heart skip a beat. The distant thrum of rotor blades, growing louder by the second. I rushed to the window, hardly daring to believe what I was seeing. There, descending from the sky like an answer to my prayers, was an Apache helicopter. As it touched down on my field, kicking up swirls of dust and fallen leaves, I knew that everything was about to change. The cavalry, quite literally, had arrived. But wait, before I continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comments section. And if you love stories of justice and inspiration, don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribe button for more gripping tales. The sprawling farmland has been in my family for over 50 years, its importance extending far beyond our own livelihood. For decades, this land has served as a crucial training ground for the U.S. military, particularly for helicopter pilots. The farm's unique topography and secluded location made it an ideal spot for the Army to conduct specialized training exercises, including night operations and emergency landing procedures. Our property features a dedicated landing zone, carefully maintained to military specifications. It's not uncommon to see Apache helicopters touching down in our fields, their rotors kicking up swirls of dust and fallen leaves. The rhythmic thrum of rotor blades has become as familiar to us as the sound of our own tractor. Enter Karen, the self-appointed neighborhood watchdog of the newly established HOA next door. Her complaints started small, the height of our grass, the color of our mailbox, but quickly escalated to outright hostility. She'd stand at the edge of her property, arms crossed, glaring at me as I tended to the farm. Sometimes, I'd catch her furiously scribbling in a notebook, no doubt documenting my every transgression. My 12-year-old son, Tommy, has been caught in the crossfire of Karen's crusade. Once, while playing near the fence line, he overheard Karen muttering about strange noises and flashing lights at night. Tommy, knowing full well it was just another military exercise, couldn't help but giggle at her wild theories. Unfortunately, this only seemed to fuel Karen's paranoia. Amidst this growing tension, our neighbor, Miss Ella, an elderly black woman who's lived in the area even longer than we have, has become an unexpected ally. She's witnessed firsthand the importance of our farm to the military and the community. Miss Ella often shares stories of how the farm has changed over the years, providing a valuable perspective on our shared history. As Karen's complaints to the HOA board grow more frequent and outlandish, I can't help but wonder, how far will she go to get what she wants? The answer, I fear, may push our rural community to its breaking point. How far will Karen go to get what she wants? Karen's obsession with our farm reached new heights. She began patrolling the neighborhood borders day and night, camera in hand, desperate to catch any suspicious activity. Her harassment escalated to the point where she'd call the local sheriff's office multiple times a week, reporting everything from unauthorized aircraft to secret midnight gatherings. One morning, I found Karen had installed security cameras aimed directly at our property. It felt like a violation, an invasion of our privacy, and a threat to the confidential nature of the military operations conducted on our land. The situation came to a head when I received an official-looking envelope in the mail. Inside was an eviction notice, citing numerous HOA violations and claiming our property was a nuisance. The document detailed plans for a new housing development that would swallow up our entire farm. My heart sank as I realized the gravity of the situation. I immediately sought legal counsel, determined to fight back. We gathered evidence of the farm's long-standing agreement with the military, testimonies from retired pilots who had trained on our land, and support from current Army officials who could vouch for the property's importance to national security. The community's reaction was mixed. Some neighbors, swayed by Karen's persistent rumors, viewed us with suspicion. Others, like Miss Ella, rallied to our defense, organizing petitions and speaking out at town hall meetings. The local authorities seemed caught in the middle, unsure how to handle the delicate situation involving both civilian and military interests. As the legal battle dragged on, I found myself lying awake at night, wondering if I was about to lose everything my family had worked for over the past 5 decades. The farm wasn't just land to us. It was a legacy, a contribution to our nation's defense and our home. The stress began to take its toll. Tommy started having trouble at school, distracted by the uncertainty hanging over our heads. I caught him one evening staring out at the landing zone, tears in his eyes, asking if we'd ever see another helicopter land there again. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, an unexpected ally emerged. A group of veteran pilots, many of whom had trained on our land years ago, caught wind of our situation. They began to mobilize, reaching out to their connections in the military and government. As the court date loomed closer, I couldn't help but wonder, would it be enough? Had Karen and the HOA finally succeeded in their mission to push us out? Or would the true value of our farm, not just to us, but to the nation, finally be recognized? The day before our final court hearing, I received an unexpected phone call. At first, I was hesitant to answer, worn down by weeks of harassing calls from Karen and her HOA cronies. But something made me pick up the phone. "Hello, is this the owner of Willow Creek Farm?" A deep, authoritative voice asked. "Yes, this is him," I replied cautiously. "This is General James Hawthorne, United States Army. We need to talk about your property." My heart raced as the general explained that he'd been briefed on our situation. He emphasized the critical role our farm played in military training and assured me that the Army wouldn't stand by and let it be lost to developers. The next morning, as I was preparing to leave for court, I heard a familiar sound that made me rush outside. There, descending from the sky, was an Apache helicopter landing right in our field. As the dust settled, I saw 2 United States generals step out, along with a team of military lawyers. Karen and the HOA representatives were already at the courthouse when we arrived. Their jaws dropped as General Hawthorne strode in, flanked by his legal team. The proceedings took an unexpected turn as the general presented classified documents detailing the farm's importance to national security. The judge, faced with this new information, ruled in our favor. Not only was the eviction notice nullified, but the court also issued an injunction preventing any future attempts to seize or develop the land without military approval. As we left the courthouse, I couldn't help but smile at Karen's dumbfounded expression. The tables had turned so dramatically, it was almost comical. In the aftermath, our community underwent significant changes. Many neighbors who had been swayed by Karen's rumors now approached us with apologies and newfound respect. The HOA's power was significantly diminished, with several board members, including Karen, resigning in the wake of the scandal. Surprisingly, the military decided to take a more open approach about their use of our land. They organized community outreach programs, allowing locals to learn about the importance of our farm to national defense. My son Tommy even got to give a presentation at his school about the helicopters that trained on our property. As for me, I found myself in a new role as a liaison between the military and the local community. It was a position that came with its own set of challenges, but also a deep sense of pride and purpose. How will this turn of events impact the future of military training and community relations? As I stand here today, looking out over the fields where Apache helicopters still regularly touch down, I can't help but reflect on the journey that brought us here. This experience has taught me the vital importance of standing up for what's right, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Our story is more than just a tale of one farm's survival. It's a testament to the often unseen connections between rural America and our nation's defense. It's a reminder that sometimes the most crucial contributions to our country's security happen in the most unexpected places. To those watching this, I urge you, take a moment to appreciate the local farmers in your area. They're not just growing crops, they might be supporting our military in ways you never imagined. And to our veterans, especially those who've trained on lands like ours, know that your service extends far beyond your active duty years. Your voices and experiences can make a real difference in your communities. I've learned that perseverance is a powerful force. When faced with adversity, whether it's an overzealous HOA or a threat to your livelihood, standing firm in your convictions can lead to unexpected outcomes. But perhaps the most valuable lesson I've taken from this ordeal is the importance of allies, both expected and unexpected. From Miss Ella, our elderly neighbor who stood by us from the start, to the veteran pilots who rallied to our cause, to General Hawthorne and his dramatic 11th-hour intervention. Each played a crucial role in preserving not just our farm, but a vital piece of our nation's military infrastructure. As I watch my son Tommy grow and learn about the importance of our land, I'm filled with hope for the future. This experience has shown him, and all of us, that one person's actions can have far-reaching consequences, for better or worse. It's up to each of us to choose how we'll impact our communities and our country. In the end, what started as a neighborhood dispute turned into a powerful reminder of the complex tapestry that makes up our nation. Farmers, veterans, military personnel, and everyday citizens, we're all interconnected, all playing our parts in keeping America strong and secure. So the next time you see a farm on the outskirts of town or hear a helicopter flying overhead, take a moment to consider the bigger picture. You never know what crucial role that piece of land or that aircraft might be playing in our nation's story. Thank you for listening to our story. Remember, standing up for what's right isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Together, we can build stronger, more understanding communities and a more secure nation for all. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.